Hello everybody and welcome to Younix online course, and in this course we'll talk about kettlebell power endurance. My name is Gregor Sobochan. I am former world champion in kettlebell lifting sport and I'm also international class master of sports, which puts me in about top 1% of kettlebell lifters in the world. But we will not talk about kettlebell sport today, we will talk about kettlebell power endurance. So the benefits you can get from training kettlebell lifting as if you were training for competition, just without the goal of going to the platform or without struggling mentally for so long set, which is kind of thing you have to do when you go on the platform and you go to compete. For those of you who don't know what kettlebell is, and I hope everybody knows, this is a ball, a heavy ball with a handle. So a quick history about it. Everything started in Russia, of course, and those balls with handles were used in the markets to weight like some heavy stuff that were brought by ships or something. They used it as a counterweight on scales. So the main Russian pound, the unit is 1 pud, and it's 16 kilograms. So the kettlebells that start, they began from 16 kilos and then they went up to 24 and 32. But as the fitness progressed and the more kettlebells were used in the fitness industry, of course, there are lighter kettlebells from 8 kilos or even 6 kilos. And by 2 kilos up, so you have 8, 10, 12, 14 kilos, so you can progress slowly and safely. We will teach you how to use kettlebell correctly, so you will get all the benefits that I and my athletes got from training kettlebell sport, which for this purpose in this course is power endurance. So the physiological characteristics of power endurance training is of course improved power endurance. Now we have to first say what is power. So if you see here, we have power and endurance combined into one characteristic. Power, it means that you move an object or your body weight quickly from point A to point B, so as fast as possible. The more power you produce, the faster you can move or the heavier weight you can move. So imagine if you lift, 1 kilogram for 70 centimeters in 1 second, it's called one horsepower, something like this. So if you want to produce more power, you have to move this weight quicker, you have to move it further, or you have to move a heavier weight. With the methodologies we use here in this course, we use a triple progression, which means we'll progress slowly. First you will extend the set, then you will go a faster pace, and then only you will raise the weight of the kettlebell. So this way you will improve your power. On the other side of the equation, we have the endurance. So power endurance in kettlebell lifting, so the endurance part is here. Power endurance means something else. It doesn't mean you will do 10 jumps, but endurance in an aspect of cardiovascular energy, of course, because the movement is repetitively. You will do cyclic activity for a prolonged period of time. Mostly you will go, especially with the harder exercises or more competitive exercises such as clean, jerk and snatch, you will go, one set will last more than 2 minutes. And if you know the energy systems, which you should, once you pass a 2 minute barrier, you are already 50% in aerobic and 50% in anaerobic system. It doesn't really work this way. So you cannot say 50% and then you switch on something like this, but because you start moving and you start breathing heavily, you cannot talk about anaerobics anymore. Even though every movement you will do should look the same and will be done explosively. So this is why we call it power, and the endurance because the sets are long. So the sets are like 2, 3 or even 30 minutes or so. Competition in kettlebell lifting lasts 10 minutes, but in the systems we will teach you here, you can combine exercises without putting kettlebell down for even 30 minutes or so. We will teach you how to do it, but first you have to go step by step with the techniques that we will teach you further down the course. So anaerobic energy system, it means it's oxidative, so you're using lots of fats to produce power. It's not so explosive anymore, so you cannot use the heaviest weight, you cannot lift the heaviest weight you could lift, but you can probably play at about 50% of what you can lift for one repetition. Because the movements are still explosive, but it's not maximum explosion, because maximum explosion can only be maximum movement, maximum power output can only be done for 1 or 2 repetitions, and here we are talking about 100 or more reps. You will not get much bigger. You will maybe notice some hypertrophy or muscle growth in type 1 muscle fibers. Those are slow muscle fibers, which can only work, which work in oxidative pathway. Okay, so the type 2 muscle fibers. You will have to, and the muscles that will grow are usually in the lower back, because this is the muscle that has to be tense the most of the time. The grip, because you will hold the kettlebell, and of course legs. They will also grow in the slow muscle fibers, the slow twitch muscle fibers. But one thing, you don't have to worry that you will now become slow. Okay, you will just not get as explosive as Olympic weightlifters, or you will not get as explosive as triple jumpers. So your endurance will improve much more than your speed or explosiveness. But also your explosiveness will come up, especially if you're not in good shape by now. Coordination, you will have to work on your coordination. But because at first, when you're teaching something new, when you're learning a new skill, you will be tensed and you will be figuring out how you have to move, what muscles you have to relax, what muscles you have to tense, at what time you have to do it. So as you will improve your coordination, you will already get better in kettlebell lifting or in lifting kettlebells. That doesn't mean that if you will progress in the first 2 weeks from, let's say, 12 to 16 kilo kettlebells, that you got like for 25% stronger. I wish I could say that, but it's not true. It's just going to be because your intramuscular and intermuscular coordination will improve, and you will use less energy to do every movement or every lift or every set that you're going to use. You will improve mobility and stability of your shoulder griddle. You don't need much flexibility or mobility for kettlebell lifting, but there's lots of lifts overhead. So your mobility and stability of overhead, the shoulder griddle, so you will have to improve this if you don't have good stability. So for people that are hinged in, tucked in like this, shoulders forward, you will have to open up, which is only a good thing because it will improve your posture. And you will improve your balance and precision. In the techniques that we teach you, you will not force yourself or lift kettlebell only up and down, but you will move in the opposite direction from the kettlebell. In the first exercise, the kettlebell swing, you will learn how to move your body away from the kettlebell out of the center of the mass and still stay in balance. So where you stand, you will not walk around. Once you master this, lifting kettlebell becomes very easy. And when we talk about precision, mostly we're talking about strength or power precision. So you will have to understand that if you lift only 8 kilo kettlebell, you only need a certain amount of power. And if you improve and you go to a heavier kettlebell, you will need more power to lift it. Try to imagine that if you hold 24 kilo kettlebell, you need to press with some intensity. And then if we will give you 8 kilo kettlebell, you will not use the same intensity to lift it. You will need just as much, just enough to bring the kettlebell overhead or the position we're going to ask you for. The movement classification and terminology in kettlebell training. So classification of movements, we put it like this. First are GPP movements or grinders. When we talk about GPP movements, we talk about lifts you already know how to do. So this is overhead press or horizontal press. It can even be bench press. It can be rowing kettlebell, bent over row, high pull. It can be curl. It can be squat, hinge, or lunge movements. So those are slow, controlled movements that you already know if you have some experience from fitness industry. We will not teach you these movements here because it takes too much time, and our goal is to improve power endurance. So this course is for power endurance. But we will teach you, or we will show you 3 exercises that are going to improve your core strength, that are going to improve your stability and coordination in grinding movements. But those exercises are not common in the gym. You will not see them in commercial gyms. Those are more so-called functional exercises. And those exercises, lots of MMA grapplers, fighters, they use it because they improve coordination and core strength so much. Okay, so you have to watch every course until the end, so you will see some grinders that will improve your general preparedness and also improve your kettlebell lifting performance. Then we have ballistic movements, so this is where all the focus will be. So in ballistic movements, in this course we will talk about those a lot. Those are the movements that come from competition lifts. It's clean, it's jerk, and this is snatch. So those are the most powerful movements you can do it. You bring kettlebell on, and very heavy kettlebells from point A to point B. So let's say from swinging between the legs into the rack position, which lands the kettlebell on the shoulder, from shoulder to overhead, or from between the legs to overhead. Okay, so those are the ballistic movements, and we will focus on those in this course. And then we have the assistant exercises. The assistant exercises that we're going to talk are not the assistant that are usually done for, let's say, better playing basketball or run faster, but that will assist you with the ballistic movements. Okay, so let's say if we will talk about swing, the assistant exercise for this is kettlebell swing. If you're going to talk about clean, the assistant exercise is kettlebell swing. If we're going to talk about jerk, the assistant exercise for this is kettlebell push press, and so on. Okay, and the terminology that you will hear, besides everything else that you already hear from fitness industry, you will hear lots of time I will mention the grip. So how you will hold a kettlebell, will it be like a supinated or pronated grip? And then you will hear the expression the hook grip, so this will be thumb over the index finger. You will hear hand insertion many times, so it's a very important thing, hand insertion. When you're going to talk about clean, you will hear this expression at least 10 times in every course. Rack position, very important position where you can rest. So this is the first position where you can actually rest under load. Then we have first and second dip. Those are the movements that are done in jerk. So you dip under kettlebell or under squat, you jerk kettlebell with a triple extension, and then you go down into the second dip. So you will hear lots of these, the first dip, the second dip, triple extension, first dip, triple extension, second dip. Then you will hear the expression lockout. Also very important position in kettlebell, because if you will ever decide to go to competition, the judge will always ask for a lockout to give you a positive rep. But even though if you don't go to a competition, the lockout, there are many benefits in lockouts. First, you can, if your rack position is not good for resting, then overhead position, when you will lift up, you will be able to rest. To take like 2 or 3 breaths, you will do a few breathing cycles. And also when you lock the elbow, the tendons start working. So it's not the muscle anymore, because you will rest the kettlebell on your skeletal system. So the tendons will have to support the weight overhead. And you will get very strong tendons, which means it's going to be safe for your shoulders. And then the last thing, it's tempo or pace. Those who are a little bit more highly advanced in training, you know what tempo in lifting is. So let's say if you're doing bench press, when you're lowering the weight, this is eccentric phase. Then you have a static hold. When you push the kettlebell up, the barbell up, you have the concentric phase. And usually the tempo is like 4-0-1-0, which means 4 seconds lowering down, 0 seconds rest, 2 seconds lifting the weight, and 1 second rest on the top. This is when we talk about lifting weight, like strength training or power training or hypertrophy training. When we talk about tempo or pace in kettlebells, we talk about how many repetitions per minute you do. So when you're doing swings, you cannot pace yourself because there is no rest position. You can only swing it up and swing it down. So in swings, you will do approximately between 31 or 33 reps in a minute if you do it correctly. But as soon as you can bring kettlebell into the rack position here, you can slow down. So you can do 1 repetition, rest for 2 breathing cycles, and do another repetition, which means you are not forced to go fast. You can go slow, you can train slow, you can get stronger in this position, you can learn how to relax, you can learn how to rest. So the more breathing cycles you do in a certain rest position, and this can be rack position or the lockout, the slower the pace. And we will say if we will want you to go at 12 reps per minute, that means you will do 1 repetition every 5 seconds. So tempo or pace is repetition per minute when we talk about lifting kettlebells. The techniques of ballistic movements. Every time on every course you will see we will talk about safety first. So safety regulations will stay the same all the time. You will have to use light kettlebell when you learn, or also when you will teach your clients, you will use light kettlebells. You will start slowly. You will go step by step, the same way we will teach you in this course. So we will start with the basics, how to pick kettlebell up, how to use the balance, how to swing it, how to breathe, how to hold it, how to bring it to your body, everything like this. And you will start slow. You will not use heavy kettlebells. You will not use long sets at the beginning. Later, we will teach you what is a triple progression. So how to progress and when is it safe to progress to a heavier kettlebell. Let's say you will start with 1 minute of doing one exercise or 2 minutes of doing one exercise at 10 repetitions in a minute. First thing that we will ask you, we're going to ask you to extend that set, so from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and maybe from 3 to 5. This is up to you, whatever your goal is. And once you will be able to go for a certain distance, and distance in kettlebell lifting means the time. Once you will be able to do, let's say, 3 minutes, then you still won't go to a heavier kettlebell, but we will ask you to increase the pace from 10 to 12 reps in a minute. So if you will go 10 reps in a minute for 3 minutes, that means you will do 30 reps. But once you will start going fast up to 12 reps per minute, and then later maybe even to 15 reps per minute, you will do 45 reps. So that means your power output will be much bigger in the same period of time. So you will do much work in the same time, which means you will be better prepared. Your work capacity will be higher. But only then you will increase the weight of the kettlebell and start over again. So that way, with a heavier kettlebell, your power will come up. It's very safe and it's very efficient. And the efficiency and the economy of the movement is what we want to teach you. So we don't want to teach you how to grind the kettlebell and just to lift it with your muscles, because this way you won't be able to go for a very long time. If you will muscle it up, for every repetitions, in about 12 to 15 reps you will start fatiguing, and at about 30 reps your set will be done. If I say we will do the set for 30 minutes, forget about it. So the efficiency and the economy of every movement, it's very important. How we're going to teach you? We're going to demonstrate. So there will be a video, because this is an online course. There will be a video of two of us working. While one will be working, the other one will be coaching, and vice versa. So the first will be demonstration, because if you only have a word, if I describe it here, you can then your imagination can go anywhere. So if you see a picture, they say the picture speaks for 1,000 words. But you will have a video here. A video speaks for 1,000 pictures. So the demonstration will be online. You will see all the mistakes. We will show how to correct them, and we will try to teach you only good technique. Then you will do the coaching and practice. So everything you will learn on the video, you will have to practice. We have after every demonstration, there is certain homework you will have to do, so you will have to practice, and you will have to coach your friends or your clients, and you will have to send this video, of course, so that we see how you teach and coach. And at the end, it comes the mastery of the movement. Okay, so the mastery of the movement, I always like to use the quote from Bruce Lee. He said that when he started to learn martial arts and he was watching the Shaolin masters, he said, oh, the kick was just a kick and the hit was just a hit. And then once he started to learn to become better, he said, oh, the kick was everything but the kick and the punch was everything but the punch. So it was all complicated, how to put your hands, what to do with your fist, how to balance your body, think about this and think about that. And once he became the best kung fu martial artist in the world, or whatever he was, he said, yeah, once I was a master, the kick was just a kick and the punch was just a punch. So once you come to that level in kettlebells, the swing will be just a swing and the clean will be just a clean, and every movement will be very natural for you, then you will say that you are a master of training with kettlebells. Thank you for watching this course and looking forward to you. I hope you liked it. I'm looking forward for the next video that follow, which is going to be live demonstration.